It was the Age of Enlightenment. The ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity were sweeping across Europe. But in France, these ideals were clashing with a crumbling monarchy, a failing economy, and social inequality. As the tension reached its breaking point, the French Revolution erupted in 1789, forever changing the nation and sending shockwaves through the world. From the fall of the Bastille to the rise of radical factions and the Reign of Terror, the French Revolution was a period of immense social and political upheaval. But how did a revolution born out of financial crisis and social unrest lead to the rise of radicalism and the eventual downfall of the monarchy? By the late 18th century, France was in deep financial trouble. Decades of war, including its involvement in the American Revolution, had drained the royal treasury. Meanwhile, King Louis XVI and his court at Versailles lived in extravagance, far removed from the struggles of the common people. Taxes were high, food prices were skyrocketing, and the peasantry was suffering. France's economy was collapsing, and the people were on the brink of revolt. But what truly fueled this discontent were Enlightenment ideas that were spreading throughout Europe. Thinkers like John Locke, Voltaire, and Rousseau had inspired a new way of thinking. That power should lie with the people, not a distant, unaccountable monarchy. In May 1789, in an attempt to address the financial crisis, King Louis XVI called together the Estates General, a representative assembly of the clergy, nobility, and common people. It was the first time it had been convened since 1614, and the people hoped it would lead to reforms. But the meeting quickly descended into chaos. The Third Estate, which represented the common people, found itself vastly outnumbered by the clergy and nobility. The commoners, or bourgeoisie, demanded a fairer voting system, but their cries were ignored. Frustrated by this lack of progress, the Third Estate declared itself the National Assembly, claiming to represent the true will of the French people. In June of 1789, the National Assembly took a bold step. Locked out of their meeting hall, they gathered in a nearby tennis court and swore the famous tennis court oath. They would not leave until they had created a new constitution for France. The revolution had begun. On July 14, 1789, the French Revolution reached a new level of violence. The people of Paris, fearing that King Louis XVI would use force to suppress the National Assembly, stormed the Bastille, a symbol of royal oppression. The fall of the Bastille became the symbol of the revolution, and July 14th is still celebrated as Bastille Day in France. The fall of the Bastille was just the beginning. Revolutionary fervor spread across France. Peasants in rural areas, inspired by the events in Paris, began rising up against the nobility, burning manor houses, and dismantling the feudal system. The revolution was no longer just a political movement. It was a complete social upheaval. As the revolution deepened, radical factions emerged. The Jacobins, led by figures like Maximilien Robespierre, became one of the most powerful political groups. They called for the complete overthrow of the old order and the establishment of a republic founded on equality and justice. In 1789, the National Assembly adopted the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, which outlined the principles of equality, liberty, and fraternity. This document would go on to shape the future of not only France but also many other revolutions that followed. But as the revolution progressed, the situation grew more chaotic. In 1793, King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette were executed by guillotine, and the country descended into the Reign of Terror. Led by Robespierre and his allies, thousands of perceived enemies of the revolution were killed in the name of protecting the Republic. The Reign of Terror was a period of intense violence that lasted from 1793 to 1794. The Committee of Public Safety under Robespierre waged a brutal campaign against anyone seen as an enemy of the revolution. Thousands were executed, and many more were imprisoned or forced into exile. The revolution had become a frenzy of fear, where no one was safe, but even the revolutionaries themselves could not escape its wrath. In 1794, Robespierre, once a champion of equality, found himself arrested and executed. The Reign of Terror came to an end, but the revolution was far from over. By 1799, France was exhausted by the revolution. The political instability and constant warfare had left the country in shambles. Into this power vacuum stepped a young and ambitious general, Napoleon Bonaparte. Through a military coup, Napoleon seized control of the government, bringing an end to the revolution and setting the stage for his rise as Emperor of France. Although the revolution had dismantled the monarchy and brought radical change to France, it would ultimately lead to the rise of one man's empire. But the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity would continue to inspire revolutions across Europe. The French Revolution reshaped France, and its ripple effects were felt across the globe. It inspired movements for democracy, equality, and human rights that would spread throughout Europe and the Americas. Even today, the principles born from this revolution continue to shape our world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most tumultuous periods in history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more incredible stories from the past.